Hi, it's Kevin Stewart Bills 250. I'm Kev, and this is issue number 11 of the Ferrari F40 Competizione. So with issue 11 of this build, looks like we're moving away from doing the dashboard that we did the last couple of issues, and we're now going back onto the engine. So metal screws again, let's see how we get on with them. But let's get into it, let's get into the build for issue number 11. Okay, so parts are laid out for issue 11. The engine crankcase, which is metal, quite a heavy piece of metal actually, and the upper part, which is plastic, and the screws that we're going to need. So as I say, so that's the parts laid out as in the inventory. Yeah, as and always with this collection, this build, I've got a magazine, because once again, it is almost as kind of fun to look through these and read some of the articles as it is to actually do the build. And iconic photographs as normal, part of the engine, the actual cockpit, beautiful kind of centre fold of the of a Ferrari for this, and the instructions for this issue. Okay, so I've got the upper and lower parts of the crankcase as it talks about, and it says you just got to put these together. Now, working out the correct way to put these together quite very round is just simply you kind of follow the picture. So you've got the blank end, you've got an end that's got obviously all the design on it, and you've got a blank end, and that's kind of showing that these parts of the bottom of the crankcase, or this lug if you like, is going to the well, to my right of that, and it just ends up looking like that as it does in the picture. So it does overhang slightly, and you've also got another guide which is just that part there as well. Make sure that's that way around. Okay, so that's the first part done, and it's just simply put together. So we're going to be fitting this together with type T screws. We only got 3 of those, you only need 2. It obviously shows where they're going to be going, the top of the crankcase. So just got a little bit of oil in the container. I'm just going to dab the screw into the oil. These are going into plastic parts, aren't they? Come to think of it. That bottom crankcase is plastic. I don't even know if I need this. It does tend to make screws going a little bit easier, a little bit of oil. And on nicely. Okay. And now we're going to bring over the parts that came in issue 8. These are the top of the crank pieces. So these obviously wrapped up, and then these have got an R and an L written on them just to describe which one's which. So yeah, we've got an R and an L internally to show which is which, and obviously we've got an R and an L on the crank case itself. So we're going to put the left bank on first. We have that pointing towards me, and you just match up, I guess, the L and the L. Okay, that way around, yes. I guess it's that way around. Kind of shows you kind of putting it on. Have it in that position there. And then the final photograph shows it in that position there. And then we're going to be fitting that together with 2 S screws. And these are obviously going into metal, so dab of oil. They're a bit of an angle, aren't they? Okay, so not that easy to do. But yeah, I think cutting the threads first, using a screw with a little bit of oil. I'm using like a screw just to cut the threads. I won't use this to go into the mould, but if I use that just to cut the threads, and put that in first, without obviously the crank head, the cylinder head on. That will give me a fighting chance to get the actual screw in. Yeah, cut the threads first. That's what I'm doing. So yeah, so I'm cutting the threads first, all the way in with a screw that's got some oil on it. And take that screw out. It's not going to be the screw that I use, because you do get given a spare anyway. Then the actual cylinder head itself will go on. And the difficult part then becomes getting this in, because I still want this to go in straight. I still want it to go in straight. I don't want it to go in an angle. So I'm kind of using a screwdriver at kind of an angle and only trying to get it started, get the threads kind of started. I'm not after getting it in kind of tough yet. All I'm trying to do is get those first couple of threads in. I'm actually going to resort to it's actually not using a screwdriver to get it in to start with. Extreme. Yeah, so it's a bit of an extreme way of doing it, I guess, but if I use the tweezers just to kind of place, difficult to say I know, but if I use the tweezers just to place it onto the thread, onto the screw hole, sorry, previously cut the threads in, I'm just kind of balancing that on there. So not the easiest thing in the world to do, but screwdrivers. But yes, it's just a case of trying to cut those threads to start with, and then you really want your screws to go in straight. Having them going in at an angle for me ain't going to work, so you've got to have them going in straight. So I'm going to place them in, get a couple of threads going with whatever screwdriver you've got, and then yeah, just tighten them up when they get a bit further in. You will get, I've got a few marks on the inside, but I guess when the cylinder head goes on there, you're not going to see that. Okay, issue 11, done then. They're on solid. Bottom of the crank is also on. So yeah, looking quite smart. And heavy as well. That's quite a heavy piece of kit, because it's obviously die-cast metal. Okay, so yeah, issue 11 done. Yeah, it's looking impressive. That engine is quite heavy. There's lots of detail on it. Getting those screws in though, I don't know why they haven't given you kind of getting them in that angle is quite difficult. So pre-drill, kind of threading them without the part on, and then kind of putting them in after you've pre-threaded them or pre-cut the threads. Also, a little bit of oil on the screws helped a lot. But yeah, it was quite tricky, to be honest, to get that kind of angle right. But as you saw in the video, yeah, it's just a case of perseverance and kind of trial and error, I guess. But yeah, putting them in at an angle is quite difficult, obviously. But hey, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, if you'd like to see the progression of any of these builds, then please consider subscribing. If you'd like to be notified anytime that a video goes live, please remember to click the bell. But hey, yeah, stay safe, stay home if you can, and hope to catch you again on the channel soon. But ta-da for now.